Innovation is in our veins. Soon the whole world will know our names. Sharing our knowledge and freedom reign. We here for the people, you know it's our way. Setting foundations is part of the dream. It doesn't matter if you're new to the game. Listen up now, cause we all gon' say, elevate, 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 higher, elevate, 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 higher. We gon' rise up, we all gon' shine. Work through adversity, stay on the grind. Elevate, elevate, this is our time. Elevate, elevate.
Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, everyone. It's so great to have you all on one more time. It's your boy Josh
Dalton,
and we're grateful to be back on with you yet again. Oh baby. So we're gonna get right into it, the nitty gritty.
Right to the hot stuff, though.
Punch you right in the throat.
Josh.
Poke you in the eyeball.
Oh my gosh.
Make you feel all the soft stuff in there. We're going in hot. Okay. First off, we're dedicating this episode to early Pete.
Oh, dude. Oh, we're doing that? Oh, that's crazy.
Do we want to do that?
Yeah, man. Listen, you're annoying. That's the truth of the matter. It's like we just noticed that you are a huge fan in the worst way. And it's just unfortunate that that's the discourse that you want to have on our social media. I just like, as two Nova Scotian creators, it's like at every chance you get, you like nitpick. And obviously you can have difference of opinions, but like even on the one today, just clowning our sizzle reel, it's like, it's just interesting why you would like want to dog and clown us. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't have to get it, but just unfollow us.
Please.
It's okay.
Do us all a favor.
You don't like us, and that's okay. It's just really funny that someone with 500,000 followers goes on social media to nitpick others.
Yeah. And we're not the only ones we discovered. We realize he does this to a lot of small creators. And I imagine so, sir, especially your specific comment to us about my latest sizzle reel. Let's just pull up the actual.
I loved it, Josh. Don't worry.
Dude, I was proud of it too, so I don't really care.
It.
I don't care what people have to say. But what I will say is your exact words were, for real though, what is this sizzle reel? Did you guys hire the former editor from the WWE Royal Rumble or something? First off, sir.
Yes.
You can go down Know Your Role Drive and check in to the SmackDown Hotel because you can feel free to know your role, shut your mouth. That's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. And we got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Period. That's enough.
That's your answer. If the former WWE guy did that edit. There you go.
I just didn't expect that. Like, because it's not like we've had creators smaller than us on our show. Oh, not the button again. Hopefully we're fine. The last one was fine. We've had creators smaller than us on our show, and obviously we wish nothing but the best for them. And whenever we've had creators on who were bigger than us, we're like, just show us your ways. Like we want to learn. And so it's just interesting that that's the public discourse with us. And it's like, if we've done something wrong, we follow each other. You can DM us. You could just tell us what it is. It's just unfortunate that you handle business publicly. If it's that you don't like us, I just don't get it. But I don't have to get it. I guess that's part of growing up, eh? You're not going to please everyone. You're not going to please everyone, and you don't have to. But it's just frustrating.
Yeah, we did you a service by keeping you nameless a couple weeks ago. But after this little last tirade, it doesn't sit well with me when bullies go around just trouncing on people. And it's one thing if it's just kind of a random person. I just don't really care. Kept dogging us because we have a few of those as well.
That's the internet. Yeah, you can't avoid that. That's one thing.
Don't really care. But when it's someone who actually has a platform with over 500,000 people, just coming at people who are smaller than them, have a smaller platform, it's odd, looks weird, looks weak. And that's something at least my family lives by and has always lived by, is we will never bully people and we'll never be bullied. And that's why we're responding with this, is we're just calling you out, man. You're fake. You're destructive. You're just not a kind person, as you like to pretend you are. Not a huge fan of you. So, yeah.
True.
There we go.
Period.
Moving on to big things happen.
Dude.
A couple weeks ago. There's a reason why we haven't commented on right away, is because we really wanted to wrap our heads around it. Mm-hmm. We knew it was coming, but it still felt weird, is that the commission for the trucker convoy, the use of the Emergencies Act has come through, and they said, Trudeau, You were right. You should have used the Emergencies Act on these truckers. And I was like, dang, that's where we're at in our country.
That's where we got to. Interesting. Yeah.
We used a War Measures Act against our own people because we didn't like their opinions.
And I know the response to that is, well, they were destructive, they were domestic terrorists, and they were all these things, of course. But, I mean, in the last 3 years, point me to a protest that had any substantial change where they weren't destructive. All of them. I want you to include all of them. And so if you look at the last 3 years, a lot of them were destructive. You may not agree that the messages are equally as prudent, but that's not up to you. That's up to the people who decided they were. So I would say the people who were at those protests thought that they were being equally as done wrong as others felt they were being done wrong with their protests that ended in street fires and businesses being smashed and things like that. Then I think everyone deserves a fair shake at protesting.
Yeah, that's fair. And this was a weird one only because, like, when you kind of go through the whole commission, you know, the argument was, well, Ottawa police didn't do their job, you know, so the federal had to do the job for the, you know,
Right.
for the city.
Right.
And Trudeau was on record saying, you can't protest to change public policy. And I was like, wow. Then I really wish I understood the point of protesting.
Yeah, what is the protest just to go and run around the streets all day?
Dude, that's my kind of protest. I think that's called the Blue Nose Marathon, but
Dude, I'll see people down at, I don't know what to call it now. Is it Peace and Friendship Park?
oh yeah.
By the Westin?
Yeah.
Okay. I see people there every weekend, and there's like 10 of them, and I don't know what they're doing. I assume they're protesting or gathering for some sort of change, but it's like you said, I think a protest, it kind of needs to shut stuff down, you know, like, and my whole thing is, I may not agree with their message, but I agree with their right to protest. And so shut it down, man. Stir the pot. Whatever, I don't even know what they're fighting for, but I'm down. Just, you have a right to protest. Go for it. And maybe they're just there meeting, but I think if they have a serious message, I'm behind them. Protest. Do it. I think if enough people get on board, then that means enough people want it.
Right. Yeah.
And if I don't want it, well then, tough. That's called living in a democracy. I don't win this one. I got to give and take.
Yeah.
I cannot have it all.
Yeah. I remember when we had Elizabeth Smith Lacrosse on, and I remember you asked her that exact question because she had tweets in the past before that whole protest happened on the highway in Nova Scotia, where she condemned the railroad blockades that the Indigenous people started.
Yes.
Do you remember her answer?
I don't think I do.
It was interesting. She said that people protest when they feel like they don't have no other outlet.
Right.
And they aren't being listened to. And that's what I now realize about those railway blockades is we weren't listening to them.
Right.
And that's probably what I've changed about my response in the past. There's a reason why people are protesting. That you need to be heard.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it reads the room like let's say that you're in a relationship with someone or it's your parent or whatever, and you come to them and say, I'm not being heard. You're traumatizing me. I'm not being heard. And they just go, but all the things I've done for you. Yeah. And it's like,
I put a roof over your head.
Yes. And it's like, yeah, great. Because I'm a Canadian, I've got it so good. Is that should I just be good with that? I shouldn't ask for change. I shouldn't be sparked to debate what's wrong, and then if I'm not being heard, like what does a rebellious kid do who's not being heard? They lash out. They that's what a protest is. They're not being heard. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, there's bad apples in every bunch. There has to be. So sure, there were maybe people in this convoy who were out of control. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course there were. And those people are wrong. The people who were committing crimes are wrong. That you don't have to commit crimes to protest. Mm-hmm. But when you get to that level of not being heard, I mean, yeah, you gotta shut stuff down, man. You gotta be loud. You gotta shut stuff down and make it uncomfortable for a day, so people see you and hear you.
Mm-hmm. I'll never forget, where one of the arguments is like they caused a lot of stress on the Ottawa residents.
Yeah, noise,
lots of noise, and I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder what happened to our prime minister when the truckers showed up. Oh, right, he got COVID and left the city.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So, so you didn't have to be uncomfortable. And this is the issue with the Emergencies Act, is it's literally supposed to be invoked in really extreme circumstances when essentially terrorism is at hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously why they kept using the term terrorism to kind of paint and change public opinion, so that they could get to the point of justifying using the Emergencies Act.
Yes.
And that's why you heard the word terrorism a lot on the news.
Domestic terrorist was a very big word.
Occupation, all these types of things. It was to sway public opinion and get people thinking a specific way and view them a specific way.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing that would have stopped all this. It came up in the commission, and Trudeau's dismissal of it was kind of funny. He's like, if you just met with the protesters, it would have ended.
Yeah.
It would have been done. That's all they wanted, was just a meeting with you.
Yeah.
That's why they showed up. You weren't listening beforehand. That's why they went to Ottawa. And then you fled the city. You kept ignoring them. You kept spitting at them off from a distance, calling them misogynist, racist, what have you. You didn't show up. So they kept staying. And then you were just like, well, I don't want to talk to them. And they're not leaving. Well, I guess we got to use authority powers at B and get them out. And that's what he did. And I think the thing that frustrated me the most was when this ruling came down, which I thought was an interesting worded ruling.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the commission wanted to side with the federal government, but they reluctantly did so.
Right.
So if you bring up I think that's the first article there, the CTV one. The Public Order Emergency Commission has concluded that the federal government met the threshold for invoking the Emergencies Act to bring an end to the Freedom Convoy protests and blockades. I have concluded that in this case, the very high threshold for invocation was met. I have done so with reluctance, said Commissioner Paul Rouleau of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's decision to declare a public order emergency in a mammoth 5-volume, 2,000-page report released Friday. The Commission has concluded that while the Prime Minister met this bar for invoking wide-sweeping powers to address the anti-COVID-19 restriction, anti-government Ottawa occupation and blockages at key Canada-U.S. border crossings, this move could have been avoided if it wasn't for a series of policing failures and at all levels of government failing to rise above politics.
The last quote, rise above politics, I think is very important. Mm-hmm. That's what this whole thing felt like. It just felt like no matter what, even if the people in that protest were 100% in the right, there was a political agenda that was going to have to be met.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it started with politics, right? It was just like people just wanted the man. There, though, I will say there wasn't. It seemed like the expectations and demands did shift throughout. It initially started with get rid of the mandatory mandates on truckers to be vaccinated. Yeah, and then it went to remove all the restrictions. Yeah, and I will give them that there were shifting demands. But at the same time, as I said, if you just met with them, you would have found this all out. Yeah. You meet with everybody else. But this one, you're just like, you got a little shy. It seems like Trudeau loves the camera, but he didn't want to get in front of that one.
Yeah, I think a part of it as well is like, this is a tough sentence to say, because I don't want what I'm going to say to come across as any way harmful. It just, at face value, it can be true. Truckers, by nature, are a different breed of people. That to work a job like that, it takes a certain person, and those people are quite resilient. Those people are comfortable working a demanding, laborious job, a job that, on different levels, may be equally as hard as being a prime minister. A prime minister, of course, is responsible for a country, but it's behind a desk with a lavish lifestyle, where a truck driver makes sure we get the food that we eat, working grueling hours, never with their family, on the road, in trucks that cost a ton of money, and maintenance that they need to pay for, that if they don't get there on time, may not get paid. Like there's pressure on these people. They're a strong breed of people. And so for someone like Justin Trudeau to be in front of that many strong-willed people, I think is intimidating. And I don't think without the Emergencies Act, they would not have backed down. Yeah. I don't think so. Oh. It was only because they were facing jail time that they backed down. I think these people were so comfortable in the face of anything other than, of course, being locked away from their families. Nothing. I don't think anything would have deterred them, and that was the only thing Justin Trudeau had to deter them.
Yeah, and even then, like I don't even consider that back down. Like it was they.
Well, yeah, it was a forced go
yeah,
away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like they were kind of they sat there they weren't fighting back. The police came in with batons and did their thing, started cracking windows, cracking skulls.
Yep.
And that's how that all ended.
Yeah.
And apparently those in our ruling class thought it was okay that he did that. So now I know where they stand. Now I know how things are handled in this country when you disagree with the government. That's where we're at.
Yeah, it appears to be, yeah, it does feel like, I guess I'm lucky that there's nothing I need to fight for that hard. I guess I'm blessed that I'm pretty content. I don't know how I would feel if I really, really had something I needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would feel quite stuck in Canada at this point. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to change it. So should I stay here?
Right. Yeah. It's, I think all of this being said, it was the Trudeau's response to the ruling that I think that frustrated a lot of people. And it was just the arrogance in his voice, which I thought was interesting.
Okay.
And there's words that he used as well. Just keep an eye out for specific words he uses.
Okay.
This short 13-second thing.
Okay.
The work of the Commission and everyone involved was very important, not only to better understand what happened a year ago, but to have a roadmap going forward for any future government.
Look at her, Steve Freeland in the background just nodding her head.
Yeah, she's a rock star, man. Nodding, banging that head. Yeah, the thing that I really got frustrated by with this comment was that we've created a roadmap for other governments to follow.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope no other government follows that.
If it's a Liberal or NDP government, they will.
Right.
So essentially what he's saying is if their coalition remains in power, protest is off the table.
Mm-hmm. If it's
against their right, if it's for, or if it's marching and stuff for the cause, I think then it's fine. But if it's against, then it's too much.
Yeah, you can't.
That's the line.
You can't mess up and stall governmental powers.
Right.
You can screw up other people's lives. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you come directly to me. I don't want you screwing up my life.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want that.
That's too much.
Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like that here. So that is the current state of our country, and that's where we're at.
They literally invoked war measures on a protest that could have been solved with an hour and a half meeting. It's like, why did they? Like, I in times in the past was a very reactive person. I didn't do many things proactively. I just would let things fall where they would, and then I'd have to maybe sometimes clean up a mess. It's a lot easier to anticipate a mess and like start to pre-clean. It's a lot easier.
Yeah,
a lot easier. So I wonder, like, was letting it get this bad part of the ploy? Was that part of the plot? Like, was this because meeting with them effectively means you're willing to hear them out and potentially change. So he's obviously not that. So I guess what he needed was for them to get maybe enraged at not being heard enough that he could get a good smear campaign. I don't know.
I think that was part of it. I think he wanted to delay as much as possible so that he get more things into the news cycle and continue to shift public opinion against the truckers. Right. That's kind of what I understood. It was really interesting to me. It was a weird time. Even for me personally, it was a weird time. But I remember when the truckers went, and a lot of people that I knew were like very much in support of it. And then as time went on, a lot of people started swinging against it, and a lot of people were speaking very boldly against it. And I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
To the point where it was like really awkward. If you said you were like, I could see why they're doing it.
Yeah, it was really awkward.
Yeah, I was like, I remember, I'm still proud of us for like in the heat of that, we still did a podcast in support of it.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
It was difficult. But it was interesting to me. there's two scenarios I thought was really eye-opening. One was when the vaccine mandates first came down. It would have been August of 21. And we came out and we're just like, this is why are we doing this? This is dumb. And that was the first wave of people that kind of flooded our inboxes. People that are like, I'd say well-known around the city. Where it's like, keep it up, guys. You know, I'm not going to say nothing, but
Good for you.
good for you. You know, we need this right now. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then the second time that happened was the convoy stuff.
Yeah.
Where we came out against it, or it came out in under, at least in a stance of understanding why this was happening.
Yeah.
And again, people flood our inboxes. Wouldn't be us, but thanks for saying something, you know. And
after having lived out the year of that was 2022, I'm tired. It's hard.
22? What's that? 21.
Yeah, but I'm saying like then we lived like with the.
Oh, sorry, this was just last year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, it was 22. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like seeing that year through, like this January, I was like, I'm exhausted. That was hard to keep that up.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard to come on and talk about things where the basically entire public says that's wrong. That's hard.
Yeah.
And then just today, I saw an article which I think we may be able to find. It was a tweet about something coming down the pipeline. But if you're able to Google 12-year-old trucker ban, that might be able to find it. Trucker ban, Canada. Yeah, ban on trucks more than. See this?
Oh yeah.
So this is proceeding, and it's being tabled again today or something like that. That if your truck that a trucker uses is over 12 years old, it's no longer street legal.
Only 12, eh?
12 years old, and people were on these comments of this TikTok saying, all of my rigs are over 12 years old, and a new rig is over 250 grand. So if your food is not expensive enough now, it's only going to get more expensive.
Wow. 12 years.
And why truckers? Why are we? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
What is the beef? Is this retaliation now?
I think, okay, so this is kind of where I go with it, is if I come at these things, these issues from a place of common sense and trying to do things for the sake that's better for everybody, that's where I think I get confused and frustrated. When I come at it from the standpoint that it's intentional and that they really want to hammer our supply chains, then it starts making sense to me. Like, of course.
Right.
You can start implementing things under the guise of environmentally friendly
Yes.
and start really messing with people's supply chains and how we get stuff. So the government can come in and start controlling things and controlling how things operate.
Right.
And you just keep things under your thumb.
You break the system just to fix it.
Yeah, just to fix it and keep it within the government's control.
Right.
And I think that's what we're seeing now. A lot of things that come down the pipe, if you feel like it doesn't make sense, there's a reason why it doesn't make sense. And I think it's what we're seeing now.
I just is like, I cannot believe it.
Yeah. Didn't think I'd see it in my life.
No, I did not.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think the craziest part about it is, you know, people will hear this, or there's some people that would hear this and, you know, label us whatever. And to know that the only reason why they're labeling us with whatever the labels are is because they were manipulated by media. That's kind of where we're at. Like, if you came at me just a couple of years ago, or actually 4 years ago, saying, you know, truckers are the backbone of our economy, we need them, they're great. Yeah, I would agree with that. Now it's like, they're kind of racist and kind of misogynistic, and I don't know.
They're
about
hillbillies.
them. Yeah, I don't know about them. It's just like, it's just like, well, simple things that have changed over the years are just because of media manipulation.
Yeah.
It's an odd time.
Yeah.
But the thing I do want to finish off with
Let's do it.
is, dude, the stuff that came out about China manipulating our elections.
Oh.
Holy smokes. So this was a meme that came out. And it's like, how CBC reports when a dude from Arkansas donates $5 to a trucker.
Lisa Simpson with a monocle of
magnifying glass. And then Bart with acting like he's blind. China buys off 11 candidates in Canadian elections, and CBC just acts like they don't see none. Yikes. That's kind of what's happened.
Yikes.
So
11 candidates.
11. and it was really interesting. So Global Mail dropped this huge story. Cool. All right. So title of Global Mail article is CSIS found specific Chinese interference in Canada's election. What happened next? So they're saying that China employed a sophisticated strategy to disrupt Canada's democracy in the 21 federal election campaign as Chinese diplomats and their proxies backed the re-election of Justin Trudeau's Liberals, but only to another minority government, and worked to defeat conservative politicians considered to be unfriendly to Beijing. So the reason being is like the conservative perspective was starting to lock down our borders and starting to like ban foreign investment specifically coming from China. And what would happen is the way they kind of got people to be, at least Chinese Canadians were fearful of voting conservative, was saying that they're going to be like Trump. They're going to ban people from being able to come to school here and do all these things, and you shouldn't vote for them. And it was all part of China's plan, because what they wanted is they didn't want any majority government. B, they definitely didn't want a majority from conservatives. But they also didn't want to give that power to Trudeau.
Yeah.
The reason being is they wanted a minority government because it allowed for politicians to fight amongst themselves in Parliament.
Right.
They won't get nothing done. And especially with how divided our politics are, that was viable. There was a time when minority governments were actually really good for the country because both sides had to give up something to get something. Now we're so divided that minority governments don't really mean much. Nothing
gets done.
Nothing gets done. So that's kind of
Except when you form a coalition.
Yeah. Shout out coalitions. We love that. Yeah. And so that's kind of what happened. And it was a very interesting kind of thing that came out, because it came out from our Central Intelligence Agency here in Canada.
CSIS is our like investigation into like RCMP government. Like they look into them.
Exactly. And so the fact that this all came out, that there was strong manipulation in the election, I found was really interesting.
And I'll be honest, I didn't know about that till right now. Like that was not talking. I didn't hear about that.
That's wild. Gee.
That was not on anything.
That was on CBC?
Yeah, that was not on CBC. That was not on Apple News.
Yeah. It was Global Mail of all places filling that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a bombshell article, and it was kind of wild what ended up happening. I'm trying to say, drawn from a series of CSIS intelligence gathering operations, the documents illustrate how an orchestrated machine was operating in Canada with two primary aims: to ensure that a minority Liberal government was returned in 21, and that certain conservative candidates identified by China were defeated. They're just like, we can't have any anti-Chinese policies up in here.
Wow.
So I thought that was, there's part of me who was like shocked. Well, not shocked, but I was like, okay. But like, I also found out, I was like, China thinks of us like that.
I know.
That's awesome. Usually it's just an American thing.
I know.
But there's like, oh, wow, Canada's a breeding ground for us to put our investments. We got to make sure we are able to keep doing that. So there we are. They keep buying up our real estate, and we keep letting them.
More than that, man. They buy everything.
Yeah.
They'll buy farms. They'll buy fisheries. They'll buy everything that controls everything you need. They buy fisheries here.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
We talked about that before.
Yeah. You're totally right. I forgot about that story.
So soon they'll own the buildings where you're buying the stuff, and they'll own the places where your stuff comes from.
Yeah. Gee. I thought that was, just the misinformation campaigns. I was curious, like when we talk about misinformation campaigns, like what does this actually mean? So when you go into the documents, you start realizing it's, they targeted specific individuals to campaign in specific districts and to, sway public opinion, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
And it worked.
They said they targeted 21 conservatives.
And
11 of them.
Yeah. 11
candidates.
Crazy.
Well, hopefully we never run for politics. They'll be coming after us.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And so we'll see what happens there. So as we talked about last episode, with a lot of the heightened tensions around World War III and all this stuff happening, this was you brought this up too. This was likely a retaliation as well for Canada arresting that Huawei executive.
Oh, dude, that was a big deal.
That was a big deal. And the funny thing is, we never would have done it if Trump wasn't in power.
You think?
Yeah, Biden wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So,
because I don't think Trudeau wanted to.
No, definitely not. But we know that Trudeau is not he's soft, right? Mm-hmm. So if someone like Trump's in power, he's going to do whatever Trump wants.
Mm-hmm. He'll just send Americans here, like
Yeah.
the FBI or something.
It's like, I don't think you understood me, Justin.
I'm going to have that person arrested.
Yeah, this is how this is going to work. Could you imagine, like, even with the balloon stuff, right? You think if Trump was in power, those balloons would be hovering as long as they did? No.
Those would have been immediate.
Yeah, those would have been
Immediate.
those went down. Like the funny thing is, like there was so much bad press coverage over that Biden started shooting down hobby balloons.
I know, dude. Just for fun, he was like, "I'm going to take them all down."
Where, like, it was
Imagine you were on a hot air balloon ride and you get shot down.
by a $500,000 missile.
Dude, I saw the price tag for one of those, and I was like, "And you shot how many off
I know, right?
for fun?"
Shout out healthcare.
I go, "Yeah." The cost of artillery continues to blow my mind.
Nuts.
I can't fathom how that managed to cost $500,000.
The price of a home. Shot.
What's in
Boom.
it?
True.
Like, are the materials to make that really worth $500,000?
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
Dude, it was funny. Like, this was an interesting story, not totally related, but I thought it was intriguing. It was about Tesla. And there was a friend of a friend. So it was like one of those 4chan stories, but he was interviewing to be an engineer at Tesla.
Okay.
You're looking at interview at a big company. You have your 3 interviews and you'll get the job or you don't.
Yeah.
And so he got through a second interview, and so he's like, "Yeah, so your third interview will be, at the Tesla location, and you'll be met by like your primary supervisor. He'll meet you in the room, and you can they'll give you a test, and you can see if you can solve it." Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Okay, sounds good." So he goes in the room, and he's waiting, and then Elon walks in the room, and this guy couldn't believe his eyes. Elon's like, "I need you to solve this problem for me right now. You got 5 minutes." And the candidate got so nervous that he fainted on the table right in front of Elon. Elon just got up and walked out. He's like, "Are you kidding me, man?" Next. Could you imagine getting that far, this close to working at Tesla, and Elon walks in the room and you faint on him?
Yikes. That's the definition of blew it.
Yeah. Holy smokes.
Darn, dude.
Yeah.
I think it does take you gotta be a certain type of person to work for Elon Musk.
Yeah. The stories I've been hearing come out of Tesla.
Intense and insane.
Yeah. That's another level over there, man. Mm-hmm. But yeah, back to how expensive military arms are. There's those are my favorite memes when people are talking about when the balloons are floating over. Mm-hmm. And all the memes were like China about to find out why America don't have good health care. I was like,
because they got missiles, man.
Yeah. they're gonna lay you out. And this is why as Canadians we love being the northern neighbors at times like these.
Because America will deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the big brother will take care of it. Take care of business.
And they also can't find them wherever they land either.
Oh yeah. True. I love that we have all this technology. We can't discover these things.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my! Pretty fancy components is one of the reasons why missiles are so expensive.
What the heck are we even
expensive
looking at?
labor? The components that go into why missiles are so expensive.
Oh, that's what we're pulling up. Expensive labor?
Fairly quick development timelines. Fair, but $500,000 seems like a lot of money
for a missile, eh? For something that goes boom
for single use.
Yeah. This ain't environmentally friendly out here. Not reusable.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Elon, get on that.
I think the last point is probably the most relevant here is like relative captive customers who will tend to pay inflated prices. So the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
True. Dude, it's
interesting.
I guess that's why Biden showed up with $500 million.
Yeah, they just got money to spend, man.
There's like, oh,
where are they getting this money from?
Oh, they just they type in the computer.
Where does money come from?
Oh, I don't know, man. Don't know. But yeah, it's a wild time. So it's just kind of like we're at just a weird time, right? We China's in dealing with screwing around with our elections here in Canada.
Look at the defense budget. The defense budget for 2021 was $800 billion.
I can't even.
$800 billion, and that was an increase from 2020.
I don't even understand that.
That's almost $1 trillion. Like, dude, Do you know how much 800 billion anything is?
No, I don't. Like, I can't even like wrap my head around.
There's
that.
this thing, and it's like, how many days is a million seconds?
Oh,
And it's like 36 days, and a billion seconds is like 37 years.
Yeah.
And this is $800 billion. That is almost an infinite amount of money that they spend yearly.
Just keeps going up.
They spend it every year.
2018, 734 billion. 2019, 778 billion. 2020, 800 billion. Sheesh.
So they got money to spend, I'd say.
Yeah.
What are they defending?
Apparently Ukraine.
I'd say 500 million. 500 million doesn't even make a number change on an $800 billion scale.
No.
That's nothing.
No, it's just kind of like, it's a blip.
500 million is nothing.
Dude, I almost want to do that calculation right now. See if my calculator can even.
500 million minus 800 billion is 800 billion.
500 million
Five is
divided by 800 billion? 800.
yeah, you're doing it right.
1, 2, 3. That's it. 0.0006. It's not even.
It's not even.
It's not even a fraction
Oh,
of a percent. That can't be right. No, I think that's right. 500 million.
Well, dude, 500 million is half of
A billion.
a billion, and they have 800 of them.
Yeah, that's about right. Gee.
So they could afford to do that 799 more times,
I don't know if that's how that math works,
isn't it? I don't know.
but it's still crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We didn't go to school for math.
Yeah. Listen, I had to cry to pass pre-cal. So
Sheesh. But yeah, that's just kind of where the state of our country's at. And we will thank you for joining us for another Thursday episode, y'all.
yeah, man, and don't look into these budgets because you want to die. It's insane. I mean, if you're American, but I mean, I imagine our budgets aren't. They're not balanced. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
East Palestine, nah. 800 billion.
Seeing a budget like that and then seeing what's happening there, it's like that is kind of gut wrenching.
Yeah.
That's like really gut wrenching.
Like I'm starting to I honestly, in all honesty, I've never looked into like the military defense budget. I've just heard it referred to in arguments before.
Right.
But now I get why like the anti-war people are angry.
I
crazy.
get it.
That's
I get it.
crazy.
Yeah, because if you look at it from like a what are we spending our money on standpoint, it is stupid.
Yeah.
Obviously, if there's things that need defending, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I think I took Phil's cup, so.
oh no, this is on the floor.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Gee.
Yeah. Stay strong, homies.
Yeah. We're gonna keep it strong for y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna keep fighting the good fight. Oh, and there's a healthcare budget. And this, by the way, this is Medicare. I would assume. Yeah, Medicare spending grew to 900. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so like it gives you context. At least they're spending more on healthcare
I guess that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
from what that's.
But somehow it's
Well, I think this is profit because this is just counts per person.
NHE grew. So
the
that's how much.
GDP.
That's how much they made off of healthcare.
Woo!
Got it. $12,914 per American person.
Medicare spending grew to 900
$100
billion.
So 900 billion is also a drop in the water for 4.3 trillion. So they still did good.
Yeah. Wow. The more you know, man.
Their healthcare industry was 18.3% of their GDP.
I mean, I'd be curious to know how much that is due to COVID.
Oh, I mean,
Just like all the
yeah,
shots
these
they had to
numbers
buy.
are, yeah, I suppose this is probably a little bit before that, but
They didn't have to sell one vaccine. They got to sell 2 vaccine, 3 vaccine,
I know. And
4
They
vaccine,
just kept going. There's like now you can get as many boosters as you want, right?
5 vaccine. Yeah, they just going, man. What? Yeah. Wild times. So
Crazy.
be careful out there, y'all. Don't do anything the government hates, or you'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
You do anything that the government disagrees with, your Bitcoin will be taken from you. If you, yeah. And if you really do anything that's going to upset them, you'll be called a racist. Every name of the book.
Yeah, and then you're canceled and you're done.
And then Trudeau will be your daddy.
Yeah. Remember in 2016, everyone was like, Daddy Trudeau.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
Yeah, it was.
I
Now
wonder
it's,
how those people feel.
now it's for real.
Yeah.
He is our daddy now.
I wonder how they feel.
Trying so hard not to pay taxes, but he just keeps coming back for more. He is my daddy. Gee. Anyways, whatever it is you're doing, whether you be trying to buy some Bitcoin,
Oh, or trying to spend the military's U.S. defense budget.
okay.
Or listen to propaganda by CBC.
Oh,
Whatever it is you're doing,
wherever you are.
we love you.
We're out.
Peace.